Pleased to be joined by the Director of Basketball and Strategy. This man handles so many of the analytics, so many of the things within the program. I think he's one of the smartest, bright young minds in college basketball. With the exception that he shares an alma mater with Rob Doster. We won't get into that. No. It is Jonathan Safir of the Florida Gator staff. Let's give him a big welcome. Florida.
We got Houston fans here, I guess. We got Houston fans here.
Had the other team won, I would have had to pull you to the side and say, listen, don't let this go down.
No doubt. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you. You got to tell us here, last night, you guys come out of that tunnel. Obviously, you practice and you go through the media activities, and it's a lot happening there. But when did it hit you last night within the course of that game that, hey, we've got this. I've got Walter Clayton. I've got Will Richard. We've got these dudes here. We're going to get this done. We're going to be 40 minutes from a national title.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that first half last night, really, Janai Broom in particular had his way with our front court. And I thought down by 8 at halftime, we had 20 minutes left to kind of figure it out. And we're talking as a staff, and the reality is, or was, that we weren't playing that well. Yet we knew if it was close late, we'd have the best player on the court, shot maker, and Walter Clayton. And also that to be down 8 and not play that well means if we play a little bit better at 1-5-0, 1-8-0 run, we're right back in this game. And I thought, before I fully answer your question, the turning point really for us was we were down 49-40. I forget what happened when we missed a shot. I forget what the shot was, but Will Richard came flying out of nowhere and an offensive rebound and one putback. And that kind of just ignited us. And then you could feel the passion, feel the energy, feel the tide kind of shift. And then to come full circle to answer your question, it was really 2 plays, Waltz and one driving the left side. I think that put us up by 6 with maybe a minute and a half to go. And then when it really hit was Tommy Houck's and one to put us up 8. He ended up missing the free throw, but his and one to put us up 8 with maybe 50 seconds left before Baker Mazzara made a 3 to cut it to 5.
Yeah, I thought it took a lot of stones to stick with your strategy, right? Like it was basically we're gonna make Janai Broom beat us one-on-one of the posts. More or less is kind of what you guys wanted to do. And in the first half, he kicked your ass a little bit. He looked like the National Player of the Year. In the second half, they had 46 points, 32 possessions. I'm doing the analytics for you, numbers here for you. 46 points, 32 possessions in the first half. Second half, 12 points in the first 12 minutes. I thought that the difference was kind of simple. Your 5 men decided that they were going to stop Janai Broom. And that worked, and it allowed you to keep doing what you're doing. When you're in that locker room and you're trying to make those decisions, how do you get to the point where you say, "I'm going to keep doing this thing that isn't working"? How do you make that decision? How does that happen?
Yeah, well, to your point, we did make the decision to stick with the game plan and to think that, hey, if Janai can score twos overhand all night for 40 minutes, we'll tip our caps. But we didn't really have any other options or choices. Because leading up to the game, we didn't really work on potentially doubling. And if you double, Janai is a really good passer, especially with his back to the basket. And Miles Kelly, Chad Baker Mazzara, Tahad Pettiford, Denver Jones, all really good shooters. And they already have a lead. 3s are worth more than 2. These would be open catch and shoot shots. And they already had a lead. So we're thinking all we can really do is dig deeper, get a little tougher. Both guard Broom better with physicality and hit him over the course of 40 minutes, hopefully wearing him down. But also another key part of it was we needed more from our guards. The ball pressure, we only had 7 first-half deflections. I think we had 22 or 23 deflections in the second half. And making life more difficult on the guards so that they couldn't just pick their pocket, get to the spots they wanted, and throw the pocket pass in the short roll with ease to Broom. So Broom was getting catches where he wanted because our front court was letting him get too deep, but also because our guards were not tough enough and have enough tension in their bodies to prevent passes from having any chances of being deflected, stopped, turned into steals. In the second half, we had 2 or 3 pick sixes. Will had one, Elijah had one. We had a 4-on-1 where Elijah threw it.
Did you think Elijah was going to miss that dunk?
I did. If you can see the picture, you can see everyone's reaction except for mine. I'm stoked, like, holy cow, I think he took off from way too far away. But then a few possessions later, we had a 4-on-1, and Elijah went airborne and threw it back to Tommy, and I don't think Tommy wasn't ready for it or whatever. But we had 3 or 4 plays of pick sixes with really catapulted by our guards' intensity and defensive disruptiveness, which did not happen in the first half.
So after the game, right, you're on a high, you still have another game. What was kind of the message Coach Golden also being younger in this position for the first time, to the I want to say organization, because at this point, this is what college basketball is. Yeah. What was his message to the team and everyone about the game tomorrow?
One more. Job's not done.
Yeah.
We're here now. Might as well go win it.
Yeah.
I know we've talked at length. It's been a talking point for the media all week. 4 1 seeds, the clear 4 best teams this year, all in the Final Four. First time since 2008. Really cool. Whoever is going to win it, whoever was going to win it, is going to be a worthy champion.
For sure.
And now it's a really unique and awesome situation. You have 2 35-4 teams. There's only one team in the sport that's going to have 36 wins. It'll either be us or Houston. And according to Ken Pom, it's 4 of the top 10 teams in the last 20 years. And whoever's the champion, whoever wins tomorrow night will be earned.
I was going to say, I thought we were pretty good, so I went back to the Ken Pom rankings. We were outside of the top 100, so we weren't that good. So I'm gonna start pulling back on how good we were.
Yeah.
Jonathan, Houston locks teams down.
Yes, they do.
You guys also have a top 10 defense, but knowing what they do, that they have the best defense, not just this year, but it's normal practice for them.
Yep.
When you're looking at them, when you're looking at their formula for success, I know it also goes beyond the numbers. Kelvin Sampson would share that. What's the formula that Florida must use against this Houston Cougars D tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I think it all starts on the glass. And I know you're talking how we are going to try and score on them. Yeah. But it all starts on the glass, on the other end of the ball, holding them to one shot. I think holding them to one shot is the number one key. And then the second most important key is limiting live ball turnovers, because they're so good defensively. They use their defense to create their offense. But if we can do the best we can to limit them without live ball turnovers and then to one shot on the other end, I like our chances, even though we know it'll be very hard to score. Knowing that it'll be hard to score is a given. We must then combat the other things they're really good at, and that's creating live ball turnovers to generate their offense, and that's getting on the glass with 15, 16, 17, 18 offensive rebounds. We were laughing as a staff last night before we even had a chance to check our phones, the media around in terms of the Duke-Houston game. I think Duke was up like 8-4, and Houston had 7 offensive rebounds. It was just 4 minutes into the game. And
right.
But it goes to our point. They have not historically been the best first shot offense, but they're going to keep generating second, third, fourth chances. Yeah. That wear you down.
Yeah. So, I think it's really interesting that is something that has become kind of a staple of the best teams in college basketball, right? In the NBA, you don't really have these teams that go pound the offensive glass and try to go get 40% of their misses. That's something you see a lot in college basketball. And we've seen a trend this year. You guys play 2 bigs. Houston plays 2 bigs. Duke kind of plays 2 bigs. I don't know if Cooper necessarily counts as a big, but
he's a big.
Yeah, he's a big.
In college.
He's a big. Auburn plays Cardwell and Broom, or they get Chaney Johnson out there.
Gonzaga, Arizona, Michigan.
You guys, your staff in general, tends to be on the forefront of kind of the analytical revolutions that we get in this sport, right? Is there something to that? Is there something to, all right, we're going to force turnovers, we're going to get offensive rebounds, we're going to maximize possessions, we're going to put 3 shooters outside, and all we're going to do is try to get easy looks, kick out threes, transition threes. Is this the new era of college basketball that we're in?
Yeah, I think so, because a huge difference between the NBA and college basketball is the NBA has defensively has defensive 3 in the key. NCAA doesn't. So college basketball doesn't. So you can play 2 bigs and kind of keep one in the paint if you want. And then secondly, the best players, LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, I don't want to say are more impactful than the best players in college, because Walter Clayton, Cooper Flagg, Janai Broom are obviously really good. But you know who the best players are in a given year, and you have to do everything you possibly can in the NBA to try and get your hands on one of those. You cannot compete or legitimately think you're going to win a national title without one of the handful of top 5 or 10 players. Whereas in college, that's not necessarily known who the best players are going to be going into the year on any given year. And I think a way to kind of combat that is doing what you said, creating more possessions, generating more second chance points, raising your floor so that your floor is consistently raised. And on years where you hit, on years where you have a Walter Clayton make a jump from 3rd team or 2nd team All-SEC to first team consensus first team All-American and top 3 player in the nation, then your ceiling becomes really high, and that's what we're experiencing this year.
Yeah. So the analytics part of it, right?
Yeah. No, I mean,
explain
we
to me.
talked about just how he's explaining, like getting second chances, second opportunities, 1 possessions, rebounding, keeping the team in 1 possession. I mean, that is the formula.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I want to hear your best Walter Clayton story. The story that just is in your brain when you think about this kid? Whether it's his work ethic, whether it's something about the human that he is.
Did he cook somebody in the summer? You were like, hold on,
Yeah,
we might have something here.
what is it about Walt?
Walt is an incredibly special basketball player, but he's a special person too. It's so inspiring to see what a great dad he is to his baby girl who was born November or December of 2023. So she's a year and a half now. But the most special Walt moment, I have a weird feeling, and I hope the best is yet to come. But
I like that answer.
That Colorado moment last year, where he scored 13 points in the final 2 minutes or whatever to single-handedly will us back to be in position to tie the game and hopefully with one more stop have forced overtime, was kind of the moment where I was like, holy cow, we got one. Like we can build around. We need to build around him next year. He has a chance to be special, and you can kind of just see a switch get flipped in certain games. Saw it in the UConn game, saw it in the Texas Tech game, saw it last night, and he's special. He's special.
What you guys are the analytics company, right, or the analytics program, right? Explain to me how Walter Clayton shooting like step back contested 23-footers over length. Explain to me how that's a good shot. Talk me into that being
Goes in
a
100%
good shot
of the time.
overall.
So even in the scenario where he doesn't make it 40 or 50% of the time like he's doing in this tournament, and if you just draw it out and say it's 28 or 30%, that's still about 0.9 points per possession. And the fact that we have two bigs and we're getting 40% of our misses back means we're going to get he's either going to make it 30% of the time or we're going to get it back 40% of the time. And the data in college basketball is basically overwhelming. Don't turn it over. Get a shot on the glass. Get a shot and get on the glass, and you have a real chance.
All right, no.
I
So
mean,
a real
I'm
question.
going to tell my boy coaches high school. I'm about to tell him that. But look, formula.
Real question about analytics. I was kind of messing with you there. You guys fouled intentionally twice against Texas Tech with like 3 minutes left in a game where you were down by 9. I believe it was down by 6, 2, 4, whatever it was. It was not a typical situation where you could foul. We saw Kelvin Sampson last night not foul down by 6 with under a minute left. You guys fouled way earlier than that in a one-on-one situation. Why do you do that?
Well, I think no two situations are alike. In the Texas Tech game, we were struggling to stop them. We were in the one. If we fouled, they were in the one-on-one, and we wanted to best utilize those opportunities, those possessions, to kind of maximize the variance in situations and opportunities we would have to give Walter Clayton and our offense a chance to trade 3-for-2s or 3-for-1s or 3-for-0s, and it just happened to work out. But we don't always just utilize that. Sometimes we think differently. A good example being in 2022 in our tournament game against Murray State, we were down by 9 with 3 minutes to go, and Murray State went straight keep away, took a shot clock violation, didn't get any good shots off, and we didn't have to foul because they were trying to just stall out the clock. And we were fortunate enough to score 9 points in 4 different possessions to tie it up with 20 seconds to go and eventually force overtime. But a lot of it has to do with if there's a poor free throw shooter, if they're in the single bonus or double bonus, how well we're guarding, trying to inject a little variance. Against Texas Tech, we were really struggling to stop either Jake Toppin or Darian Williams in the second half. We did a really good job in the first half. And we wanted to kind of just, for lack of a better term, add some variance to it.
Yeah.
Well, before we let you go,
It's brilliant, bro. Jesus.
yes,
I mean, that's why they're here.
They don't teach you that in North Carolina, huh?
Nah, we got 5-star guys who roll the ball out. That's why we didn't win.
it's the best Vassar alum that we've got here.
Man.
Come on now.
I'm second best one on the set.
Oh, that's very kind. I want to ask you this because I do think, look, it's on the minds of everybody, and I'm all about the game, as are you, and as are these two. But we can't ignore the fact that as this is all happening, there's over 1,700 guys in the transfer portal, and you guys want to win a national championship above all things. And when you win a national championship and you make a national championship game, I'd like to think that has some recruiting value to itself there. My point is, when you're getting a late start like you're going to be getting, you're focused on winning it all. What's that going to look like off of all this?
Yeah, that's a great question, and obviously I don't think we know necessarily yet or what have you, but I do think a couple things are true. I'm of the opinion that advancing the NCAA tournament should not be mutually exclusive to also helping your team in recruiting. And with the way the transfer portal is set up and the time and the windows, right now you can make an argument that advancing objectively hurts you in the portal for this current year. Whether that's right or wrong,
No, that's wrong.
who knows? No, I mean whether
I'm
it
saying
does.
you're right.
Right. I'm right.
I'm saying you're right, and that's wrong.
Sure.
I mean, you
But
can't say it.
we would take the trade all day of the week.
Yeah,
every day of the week.
100%. But I'm just going to say right there, that's why the transfer portal should not be open during the NCAA tournament. Plain and simple. You should not be at a disadvantage. Florida should be allowed to do what Marquette and what the others are doing.
Sure.
It's a bunch of BS that you're at any sort of disadvantage.
Well, it works both ways too in terms of it not only hurts us, but it also hurts potential student athletes. There will be players on these Final Four teams that want to enter the portal that are losing opportunities as a result of still being on teams that are playing this late, being a part of a great team and winning program and losing opportunities elsewhere. To give you an example, it would be like the NBA opening up unrestricted free agency one day after the first round of the NBA playoffs.
Yeah.
So I think there has to be a better way, a better solution. But that's a tomorrow problem, and we'd much rather be playing now and dealing with the portal later than only portaling right now. So we're happy to be here, and thank you for having us, and go Gators.
That's Jonathan Safir.
Thanks, bro.
Sapphire,
Jonathan
great seeing you.
Safir, the Florida Gators competing for a national championship tomorrow night. He could not have been more right. Coach, thank you for joining us.